once for all. Okay. So suppose if there is an element, अब बात मत करो हाँ ये किटर that irritates me. Pay attention here. Suppose if there is an element and I say that the element is X, the element X is actually characterized by two identities. One is called Z and one is called A. Z or Z stands for the atomic number. Atomic number, which is equal to the number of count of protons. Okay, always the number of count of protons. And A is known as the mass number, which is equal to the count of nucleons. And nucleons are none other than they are protons plus neutrons. Okay. In a neutral atom, the number of count of protons will always be equal to the number of count of electrons. Hope this is understood. This is a very important identity that you should know. Okay. For example, hydrogen as an element is written as 1, 1, which means hydrogen has got one proton and has one proton here also. No neutron. One proton plus 0 neutron. In the same way, if I look at something called carbon, C612, it means that it has got 6 protons, and very easy for us to find out the number of neutrons because 12 minus 6 will give us 6 neutrons. Okay. Now, this is what we call as one thing that we should be very clear about. Okay, this is something that we should be very clear about, and this gives us the concept of protons, neutrons, mass number, and what you call atomic number. Further that we study is something called atomic mass. Atomic mass, which straight away means, now we are at advanced stage, we'll learn in advanced manner, which means mass of an atom, which means that it talks about mass of an atom, right? An atom being a very, very light particle, a very, very light particle. So if you try to measure the mass in the standard SI unit for mass, that is kg, it practically makes no sense. Did you understand? The atom being very, very light, if you try to measure the mass of an atom in kg, it makes no sense. So what we measure is not mass, but we measure a separate thing called relative atomic mass. Relative atomic mass. Relative atomic mass, which means that the atom which is under study, this is the atom under study, whichever it may be, this is the atom under study. I call it atom under study. What I will do is that I will compare the mass of this atom under study to some standard that I have made for myself, a standard atom. Okay, a standard atom, and I will compare the mass with this mass. However, I will not be comparing the mass to mass directly. There comes another change out here. I'll compare the mass of this atom to 1/12 the mass of this standard atom, and the standard atom is taken as carbon 12. Okay, and carbon 12, when you take standard, look, I've taken it as standard. Now, if I've taken it as standard, I compare everything as to how many times it is heavy or light with respect to carbon. No, with respect to 1/12 of carbon. I don't compare it with carbon directly. But like if I compare hydrogen with carbon 12, I don't compare hydrogen straight away with carbon 12. I compare with 1/12 of carbon 12. So if I look at the periodic table, I find that hydrogen is assigned a value of 1 and carbon is assigned a value of 12, right? So I say it looks like hydrogen is 12 times lighter, or carbon is 12 times heavier. No, not that. Hydrogen is one times as heavy as 1/12 of carbon. One times as heavy as 1/12 of carbon. But बार बार कार्बन कार्बन नहीं बोल सकते. कार्बन को भी अगर ये स्टैंडर्ड है, I have to assign a standard value to it. So arbitrarily, carbon has been assigned the value of 12 atomic mass unit. This is an assignment that we have given. Carbon is 12 atomic mass unit, written as 12U. Now, everyone will be compared to 1/12 of 12. So how do we see hydrogen? We say hydrogen is how many times? One times. This is one times as heavy as 1/12. 1/12 of means multiply carbon 12's mass. What is carbon 12? 12 AMU. So 12 cut gaya. That's why hydrogen gets the value 1. Hydrogen is one time as heavy. That means all the elements till carbon are actually lighter than carbon. All the elements till carbon have to be lighter than carbon. Hydrogen, helium, let's say before carbon, hydrogen, helium, lithium, beryllium, boron. Boron is, we say boron, if you look at boron, let's see boron. Okay, boron means you have to find out boron's atomic mass will be 11. Okay, not 10, it will be 11 if I'm not wrong. We're getting a better software, then we'll get everything. Okay, it's 10.81, that's 11 roughly. So, because there are isotopes, okay. So boron will be roughly 11, means it is 11 times as heavy as carbon. No. If it was 11 times as heavy as carbon, it should be after carbon. It is 11 times as heavy as 1/12 of carbon, right? Carbon is 12 times as heavy as 1/12 of itself, therefore 1 I. So relative atomic mass tells us how heavy. So when the definition is asked, you have that in your book. The relative atomic mass of an atom tells us how heavy an atom is as compared to 1/12 the mass of a carbon 12 atom, where carbon 12 has been assigned the standard value of 12 atomic mass unit. How strong is rupee? $2, where dollar has to be assigned some value. And then we say rupee is so many dollars, but that's a straight conversion. Here it is 1/12. So what is the relative atomic mass? The relative atomic mass of an atom tells us what is the mass of the atom as compared to 1/12 the mass of. So if we take something like, say, oxygen. Now oxygen is how much? Oxygen is 16, right? The atomic mass is 16. Mass number is 16. 16 means, it means oxygen is, one atom of oxygen is 16 times as heavy as 1/12 of carbon 12. So if you actually see, 16 times as heavy as 1/12 of carbon 12. That's where you get the value 16. And oxygen, overall, if we compare oxygen to oxygen, is relative atomic mass clear? Relative atomic mass means how heavy. Relative atomic mass is the mass of an atom expressed relative to 1/12 the mass of carbon 12. Not exactly to carbon 12. We are not comparing apple to apple. We are comparing apple to 1/12 of an apple. Okay? So instead of understanding this in grade 9, this will be, you will understand what you call a definition, and then usko rattu maar ke yaad kar lega, फिर भूल जाओगे. What is more important is that you should understand what does this mean. Usko, let's take an example of oxygen. Let's take oxygen. Oxygen is 816, which means oxygen has got 8 protons, 8 protons, 8 neutrons. Okay? So what is the mass number? The mass number is equal to 16. And what's the atomic number? The atomic number is equal to 8. Now let's see. Okay, if we talk about first, what is the number one? What is the relative atomic mass of one oxygen atom? We will say it is 16 atomic mass unit. Nowadays we don't write AMU, we straight away write 16U. What is the relative atomic mass? Relative मतलब किसी के परिचय में आप बोल रहे हो. Relative जब भी बोलोगे, रुपी is a strong currency. भाई किसके relative में? पाकिस्तानी रुपी, बांग्लादेश टाका. रुपी is the weaker currency. किसके relation में? डॉलर, पाउंड स्टर्लिंग. यूरो हो गया हमारा, ठीक है ना, तो आपको बताना होगा. देन वी नाउ टॉक अबाउट, okay, now we have understood this, then we say what is the, this is relative atomic mass is 16 atomic mass unit. Then in grade 11 and all, you will get a thing called gram atomic mass. This is something which will be a part of your life. Gram atomic mass. Gram atomic mass means atomic mass unit expressed in grams. Simple. So for oxygen, it will be 16 grams. But here is where children make a mistake. This is not Ratnadeep 16 grams. This is 16 gram atomic mass unit, which people nowadays write it as 16G. And if there is any doubt, you ask yourself, one इलायची दाना is much bigger than oxygen. एक इलायची दाना का वजन कितना होगा? 2 ग्राम, 1 ग्राम, 2 ग्राम. और आप कहना चाहते हो ऑक्सीजन का एक एटम 16 ग्राम होगा. Are you getting the catch? तो ये वो ग्राम नहीं है. This is not that gram. This is what gram? Gram atomic mass. But since we are in the world of gram atomic mass, everyone is being compared like that. Today in Ratnadeep, you buy apples in what unit? Kg, 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 kg. If suddenly somebody goes and says that please sell me apples in pounds, वो पगला हो जाएगा. But if I take you to Hong Kong, then every fruit is sold in pounds. There, if you go and say in kg, then there is a problem. Understood? As long as, so oxygen is how much? 16. If we go and see, say somebody like helium, helium is 4 grams. Again, 4 grams does not mean 4 Ratnadeep grams. 4 gram atomic mass, right? Then this is called gram atomic mass unit. So if you see an interesting observation out here, once you know the mass number, you actually know what is the relative atomic mass. You also know what is the gram atomic mass. एक ही चीज खेल रहा है अलग अलग रूप में, right? Then again a question again comes up, that the question that comes up is, now these two things are higher grade, पर फिर भी लिख रहा हूं. 16 grams for oxygen, O8 16, is known as its molar mass. पहले ये चीज 9 में था, अब ये 11 में चला गया. is known as its molar mass. Again 16 gram, molar mass. Molar mass means mass of 1 mole. आपको मोल नहीं आता है, पकड़ के रखो ऐसे, mass of 1 mole, where 1 mole is how much? 6.02 into 10 to the power 23 count. This means now we will connect to Ratnadeep case. This means that is, if you accumulate 6.022 होता है, एक्चुअली मैंने 6.02 लिखा है, 6.022 into 10 to the power 23 oxygen atoms, then they have a mass equal to 16 grams, and this is the SI grams. Have you understood? सवाल आता है, एक ऑक्सीजन एटम का एग्जैक्ट मास कितना है? एक ऑक्सीजन एटम का एग्जैक्ट मास होगा 16 divided by, see, so many atoms make 16 grams. Therefore, final crux is one oxygen atom's mass is equal to, realistic mass is 16 divided by 6.022, 023, 6.02 into 10 to the power 23. This is the actual, but that's why we say, देखो, can you remember this figure in your life? No, it's very difficult. ऐसे करके थोड़ी. What is the noise? From fan. Okay, I'll see that. Can you use this particular data for your calculation? No. So we use everything in gram atomic mass. It makes much more sense. What is the mass of one carbon atom? Sir, 12 divided by 6.022. ये गड़बड़ी कैलकुलेशन हो जाएगा. ये असलियत की दुनिया. केमिस्ट्री की दुनिया में हम बोलेंगे ऑक्सीजन इज 16 ग्राम, कार्बन इज 12 ग्राम, हीलियम इज 4 ग्राम। और याद रखिए ये सब रियलिस्टिक ग्राम्स नहीं है, दीज आर ग्राम एटॉमिक मास। आर वी फाइन? ठीक है, तो ये हुआ हमारा। हाँ, 16 we will not multiply. We will not multiply 16. We say one atom of oxygen in the realistic world has no significance in terms of mass. Suppose you are on a beam balance, that old vegetable wala scale, right? Village scale. And you have actually putting one oxygen atom. कुछ हिलेगा ही नहीं. It's like one ant walking on it. दो ऑक्सीजन एटम डाला, कुछ भी नहीं हिल रहा है. That too not this big scale. Go to the jeweler's scale. The jeweler's scales are very, very sensitive. If you even breathe also, it will make sense. That's why they are always in a glass enclosure. 3 oxygen atom डाला, still nothing. 100 डाल दिया, फिर भी नहीं हिल रहा है. ऐसा करते करते 1000, 10,000, lakh, million. Then you one day went and got, somehow you brought in carry bag 6.02 into 10 to the power 23 atoms डाल दिया. Now you see that the scale has become like this. In order to balance it, now you are putting 1 gram, 2 gram, 3 gram. जैसे 16 gram डाला ना, weight balance हो गया. So what do we get to know? So many atoms contribute to 16 grams. So okka atom contributes to 16 by this. This data is not easy to handle, doesn't have any use, because we are in the world of atoms. मैं सबको ही छोटा छोटा चिन्नु 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 चिन्नु. So what do we tell them? Have you played, what do you call, we used to call business, you used to call monopoly? You have played, na? Don't you get false currency in that? We are buying steamer company, we'll buy Calcutta. So cities खरीदते थे ना, business. If we used to play business, I am buying railways for 7,000. Railways 7,000 में मिल जाएगा क्या? Those are all in the world of game. But in the world of game, they are again nicely, their pricing is like this. You will never see that a metropolitan city has been low priced than a tier 2 city. Have you seen Monopoly game में? Right? Bombay's cost will be more than Jaipur. Costing भी वैसे है. तो बच्चों के गेम में scaling वही रखा है. The scaling remains the same because you get an idea of how to deal with money and all. So here also scaling is same. So 16 multiplied by this never gives me any sort of data. Doesn't give me any data. 16 divided by this. That's why we call this as the molar mass. Molar mass means mass of 1 mole. That makes a sense. So whatever you see as mass number, when we see mass number, suppose oxygen is now coming 16. Somebody asks you, what is the molar mass? All you need is the periodic table. एक बार ये data मिल गया ना periodic table से, you know everything. What is the relative mass of, what is the mass number of oxygen? 16. What is the relative atomic mass? 16U. What is the gram atomic mass? 16 gamu. Gamu, also known as 16G. What is the molar mass of oxygen atom? 16 grams. Grams, actual SI grams. Make sense now? समझ में आया? Yes. Still any query? You can ask. Yeah, why not? Can I make it? ये इसको तो एकदम नोट करो. अगर 11th में केमिस्ट्री पढ़ना है ना, this is your रामबान thing. इसी में लुढ़कोगे पहले. यही पहले समझ में नहीं आएगा. So if you actually have the periodic table, that's why we say na, give me the periodic table. I have all information with me. Give me the periodic table. I have all information with me. Ta-da! So this is your one Gyan. Then we will take Dipanshu chlorine Gyan. This is one Gyan. Okay? और तो कुछ है ही नहीं. ये clear? Understood? चलो अब चलते हैं. Oh, Vaibhav wants to copy. Please copy. I don't know. Today afternoon, after sitting and working for some time, I suddenly felt that below my heel, I'm unable to put my right heel down. No injury, nothing. So much that now even the ankle area is starting to pain. And paining so badly. So I crept up. Suddenly. पर ये सब क्लास क्या है ना, घर से पढ़ा के मजा नहीं आता है. ये तो YouTube खोल के बैठ जाएगी साइड में. और नहीं तो 5 मिनट इंतजार नहीं. ये समझ में आया? ये चीज बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है आगे क्लासेस के लिए. एक बार आपको मास नंबर मिल गया, यू हैव गॉट एक्सेस टू एवरीथिंग, बस अलग अलग नाम से आएगा वो। मोलर मास, मास 1 मोल। देखो बेटा, मास ऑफ 1 मोल, अब 1 मोल का मतलब क्या है वो भी समझो। ये मैंने चप्पल पहने हैं, कैसे बिकते हैं बाजार में? पेयर में बिकते हैं। एक चप्पल कोई बेचता है? नहीं, पेयर। देन से सपोज टेनिस बॉल्स दैट वी बाई, वो 3 बॉल आता है एक में, दैट्स द एक्सेप्टेड काउंट। एंड इफ यू गो एंड बाई व्हाट यू कॉल टेबल टेनिस बॉल्स, 12 बॉल का एक पैकेट में आएगा, वी कॉल इट अ डजन। अंडे डजन में खरीदते हैं, कोई ट्रे में खरीदता है 30, डजन इज अ काउंट। यार एटम, 12 एटम कोई सिग्निफिकेंस ही नहीं रखता है, बिकॉज बहुत सारे एटम आने से थोड़ा सा पल्ला हिलेगा। सो एटम के लिए हमें एक बड़ा काउंट चाहिए। So mole is a count. It is nothing to do with chemistry only. One so and so said that couple has got 1 mole of children. 1 mole children मतलब उनके कितने बच्चे हैं? 6.02 into 10 to the power 23 बच्चे हैं। 1 mole of, even if I tell you mustard seeds, have you seen सरसों के दाने? 1 mole of सरसों के दाने is also very big. So moles are actually associated with ions, molecules, atoms, dust particles. उसमें मोल की बात कर सकते हैं। और से how much of bacteria infection happened on my, say I have an infection, open wound and bacteria infected, so what is the count? You can't say so many trillions of bacteria. Mole is a mole is just like a count. By that value, that is Avogadro's number. That will come when you understand gases laws, why this number came. Equal volume of gases at STP occupy same volume, ये वहां से आता है। This is Avogadro's number. Avogadro did not do anything to it, but this number is given in his honor. That earlier again was in 9. Now if you understand, you will get confused because you have not been exposed to that level. Gas laws and Avogadro count and all this, Avogadro's number. So 6.02, this is a count. So you should ask me, why 12 only 2 dozen? This is not something, please understand, 6.022 into 10 to the power 23 is not a decimal count. 6.022 into 10 to the power 23 means 6022 0000000. It's not a decimal number, it's a huge count. 12 को आप क्या लिखेंगे? 1.2 into 10 to the power 1 looks like कैसा decimal जैसा number है, पर क्या वो decimal number है? नहीं. Why did you not ask me, sir, why did you say triplets as 3? Why did you say pair as 2? That's a convention. Rice, generally a family, if you buy 1 kg rice, तो आपको रोज राइस खरीदना पड़ेगा. In 2 days your rice will be over. So rice is sold in bags of what? 100 kg, 1 quintal. क्यों इसे हम 100 बोलते हैं? ये कन्वेंशन है. 1 ton 1000 kg. उसी तरह 1 मोल इतना. मोल इज अ काउंट. इतने सारे एटम्स को लाके वजन करेंगे तो ऑक्सीजन एटम्स कितना आएगा? 16. एंड इतने सारे हाइड्रोजन लाएंगे तो वजन कितना आएगा? 1 ग्राम. 1 ग्राम. सो अंडरस्टैंड हाउ लाइट हाइड्रोजन इज. इतने सारे, if I bring calcium atoms and I weigh them 40 grams. Have you understood? But that does not, so if ultimately we will be interested in mass of 1 atom. Mass of 1 atom becomes a decimal number. So this way it will not help me. Right? So what helps me is like a barter system that we have introduced out here. Everyone is compared with carbon ko kar diya standard. Everyone is compared to 1/12 of carbon. Why 1/12 you should ask me? Then you get some lovely cutie numbers. If you would have compared directly with carbon, iska mass aaya hoga 1.64 or something, which we don't like. The mass and the periodic point. That we will see now. Okay, why do you see mass numbers in point? Okay, now if you look at the periodic table, we all have been talking so far that now that's our second point of discussion. So far we have been talking that, you know, if you look at hydrogen should be 1 1, but if you look at the periodic table you will see hydrogen 1 and here will be 1.008. Okay na? If you look at chlorine will be 287, so it will be 17 and here it will be 35.5. अब सवाल आता है, सर आपने बोला था this is equal to number of nucleons, है ना? And you are getting the count in decimal 35.5. तो क्या सर आपने दांत से तोड़ के एक न्यूट्रॉन रखा है इसके अंदर? That is the question. this is actually the weighted average of chlorine. Weighted average of chlorine का मतलब क्या है? ठीक है, इसको मिटाएं अभी. Can I rub this off? Okay. This means the weighted average of chlorine. What is weighted average of chlorine? This is our world, universe. This is our universe. ठीक है, और यूनिवर्स में हम आ गए यहाँ कहाँ पे? अर्थ. अग्रीड? अर्थ में इफ यू गो एंड सर्च फॉर क्लोरीन, हे आर यू क्लोरीन, तो आपको क्लोरीन दो रूप में देखने को मिलते हैं. वन इज Cl1735 and one is Cl1737. Both have the same atomic number. Okay, both have the same. That means what is the count of protons? The count of protons is 17. The count of protons is 17. The garbari is happening because here also how many? It should be protons plus neutron. So it is 17 plus 17 to the 34. That means 18 neutrons are there. यहाँ पे 17 plus 18, 19, 20 neutrons are there. समझ में आ रहा है? This fellow is the Gerber creator. This one. The neutrons ये अलग है, जबकि ये सेम है. ऐसे एटम्स को हम बोलते हैं, these are known as isotopes. Isotopes are atoms of the same element that have the same atomic number but different mass numbers, and the difference in their mass number is because of the difference in the count of neutrons. ठीक है, पर दोनों ही लेकिन क्लोरीन है. अच्छा, ऐसा कैसे पता आपको? We know that अगर ये न्यूट्रल है तो what is the count of electrons? The count of electrons is 17. The count of electrons here also is 17. What is the electronic configuration? 287. यहाँ भी 287. And we all know जब भी कोई लड़ाई होता है, BSF and army will go so 77. So their chemical properties will exactly be same, but their physical properties will be different. इसके सर पे 37 particles है, इसके सर पे 35 particles है. So this is, ये जो है ना, this will be the heavier atom. ये heavier है. मतलब अगर हम क्लोरीन को उबालने लगे, आइए बैठिए, क्लोरीन की चाय पिलाएंगे आपको. This chlorine will take more time to boil. Obviously, understood. But the question happens that the periodic table that we have made, ये सब बड़ा interesting चीज है. The periodic table, or we call it the modern periodic table. The modern periodic table is based on atomic number. Is based on atomic number. इसका atomic number कितना है? 17. इसका भी 17. राजू मल्होत्रा, राजू अग्रवाल, यहाँ प्रॉब्लम है. But both are Raju, and periodic table is based on first name राजू. तो दो जगह तो दे नहीं सकते उनको, एक ही जगह देना पड़ेगा. इसलिए हमने पीरियोडिक टेबल में एक ही जगह दिया राजू को. और राजू कौन है? ये 17. लेकिन सर ये कौन सा राजू, मल्होत्रा है कि अग्रवाल है? अगर हम ऐसे अंधेरे में जाके राजू पकड़ लेना, 75% चांस है कि हम मल्होत्रा को पकड़ेंगे, 25% चांस है कि हम अग्रवाल को पकड़ेंगे. सो जिसको भी हम पकड़ेंगे, ही विल बी ए मल अग्रवाल, थोड़ा सा मल्होत्रा, मलावल, और थोड़ा सा अग्रवाल रहेगा. सो व्हाट इज दैट प्रोपोर्शन? इसमें हम क्या करते हैं, देखो, अगर दोनों सेम होते, मान लो ये हम दुनिया में वी सैंपल्ड इट ना, एंड व्हाट डिड वी से, दैट दिस फेलो chlorine 35 is actually 75% present. That means 3 out of 4 chances में यही बंदा पकड़ा जाएगा जब हम पकड़ने जाएंगे. And this one is how much? 25%. That means this is 1/4. समझ में आ रहा है? So when you sample, if they were present 50-50, राजू मल्होत्रा, अंधेरे में जाके जिसको पकड़ेंगे वो भी राजू मल्होत्रा. अब राजू मल्होत्रा, राजू अग्रवाल, लेकिन मल्होत्रा ज्यादा है, अग्रवाल कम है. जो पकड़ेंगे वो कहते हैं राजू मल्होवाल, ज्यादा मल्होत्रा, कम अग्रवाल, है ना? समझ में आया? जिसको अभी हम पकड़ेंगे वो कैसा रहेगा? दैट पर्टिकुलर स्पीशीज का 3/4 तो समझ में आता है ना, पिज्जा का 3/4. यहाँ पे 35 विल बी मोर डोमिनेंट. व्हाट 35? Cl3517. और यहाँ पे कौन डोमिनेंट रहेगा? 37 Cl17. तो ये रेशियो हम कैसे निकालेंगे? ये रेशियो हम ऐसे निकालते हैं, we will take out इंजेक्शन देके 75%. 75% means what? 0.75. इंजेक्शन से 0.75 ऑफ 35, इसके साथ जोड़ेंगे कितना 0.25 ऑफ 37, तो बेटा कितना लिया आपने 100% सैंपल ही किया। समझ में आ रहा है, सैंपल 100% है। पनीर बटर मसाला, उसमें पनीर है 75, बटर है 25, तो नाम क्या होगा पनीर बटर मसाला। और अगर यहां उल्टा होता तो बटर पनीर मसाला, इसमें ये ज्यादा है। तो अभी इसको कैलकुलेट करके देखो, ये आएगा आपका 37.5। ये दिखाते हैं हम पीरियोडिक टेबल में, बिकॉज पीरियोडिक टेबल इज बेस्ड ऑन राजू, सॉरी 35.5, ठीक है ना। सो पीरियोडिक टेबल इज बेस्ड ऑन राजू, पीरियोडिक टेबल राजू नाम से चलता है। मल्होत्रा है कि अग्रवाल है, वो भी वी हैव टू गिव दैट प्लेस। सिंस मल्होत्रा इज मोर dominant character, next year you will study genetics, and genetics you'll see dominant character. So the dominant character here, mother is more tall, dad is less tall. बच्चे में अगर आप tall देख रहे हो तो tall is more dominant in the next offspring। तो यहाँ में क्या है 35 is more dominant, इसलिए देखो आंकड़ा 35 के पास आया। तो ये कैसा है, राजू मल हो अल, अग्रवाल का सिर्फ अल है, बाकी नहीं आया। और अगर अग्रवाल ज्यादा आता, राजू अग्रवाल त्रा, मल्होत्रा का त्रा आता सिर्फ। Hope I've been able to explain you. This is what happens. Anything, and now you calculate this, this will come out. This is called weighted average. Weighted average. Say for example, you are making kesar rasgulla. In kesar rasgulla, we will use milk as one of the prime product and kesar. Mind you, kesar is extremely costly product. Saffron is very, very costly. तो उसका जो प्राइस बनेगा ना, in that price kesar will be a dominating factor, though it is present in less quantity. दूध is a MI in front of kesar. Kesar 1 gram will cost you very much. 1 gram kesar आपको आएगा कितना, will be almost 400-500 के आसपास। So kesar is very dominant, and if you want the rasgullas to be really with kesar flavor and original, so that rasgulla's price will go up. And if you go to the shop and say, that you know रसगुल्ला ही तो बनाया हो, 30 रुपया दूध का लीटर है और एक प्राइस सर केसर रसगुल्ला है। A recent example that happened after I came this time from Mahabaleshwar, you know, below the wheel of a car you always have a rubber lining on the fender, we call it fender. So that rubber lining had come out, okay, in my case. So I thought I'll replace it. The rubber lining cost for a Honda City costed me 700 rupees, the front left rubber lining. Now it has to be fitted with studs and bolts. You know what is the bolt cost that came to me? 980 rupees. So now you, no, not because of metal, the bolts are, screw का कितना दाम होना चाहिए, anyone, so Honda service center is telling me, sir, you didn't make any noise, other people say prime product is 700, how can the fitting equipments be 980? वैसा ही है वो बोल्ट, क्योंकि that bolt is always above the wheel area, it is made up of such a material which should not rust, so the bolts are costly. They are not the Amagawa bolt, chrome plated, they are not, or high grade SS, उसका दाम होगा, means the bolt will never come off, flap चाहे गिर जाए, but in your eyes you see the flap as big. So in the cost of the whole replacement, who played the leading role? The bolt played the leading role, है ना, इसको हम कहते हैं weighted average. Say today in your percentage in your mark sheet all subjects contribute equally. If I would have said no, the contribution of second language will be more, are you getting it? That means scoring less in the second language will cost you very dearly, and scoring more in another subject will not cost you. समझ में आया? ये चीज क्लियर है? चलिए, वो सैम्पलिंग करके पता चलता है। Chlorine as a gas is taken, separated out, and then chromatographic analysis is done, है ना। जैसे आपके पेरेंट्स आपके बारे में बोलते रहेंगे, आजकल ये जो भी बात करता है ना 1/3 झूठ बोलता है, ऐसे कुछ पेरेंट्स बोलते हैं ना, 1/3 ही लाइज। वो पेरेंट्स को वो कैसे पता चलता है? They keep on sampling, and after sampling they say last few occasion and 1/3 10 occasions 3 times I found you were lying. So that's a rough, एक 1/3 झूठ बोलता है, like that sampling, ठीक है। चलिए अब कुछ क्वेश्चंस करें। रद्दिमान, ये क्लियर हुआ आपको? हाँ, मल्होत्रा और अग्रवाल कैसे दिखेंगे? अब सवाल आता है, अगर आप अच्छा पीरियोडिक टेबल लोगे ना, now we'll be replacing this software, they will get everything, once we get a good periodic table, everything will be in point. Means हर किसी बच्चे में एक मल्होत्रा एक अग्रवाल तो है, या फिर तीन. हाइड्रोजन के केस में तीन है, मल्होत्रा, अग्रवाल, सक्सेना. हाइड्रोजन, ड्यूटेरियम, ट्राइशियम, प्रोशियम, ड्यूटेरियम, ट्राइशियम, इन तीनों का मिला के 1.008 होता है. हाइड्रोजन के तीन आइसोटोप है. नाउ एट व्हाट लेवल दे आर प्रेजेंट, दैट मच डेप्थ वी डोंट सी, पर हाइड्रोजन में तीन प्रजातियां दिखती है. इवन कार्बन, कार्बन 11 है, कार्बन 14 है, कार्बन 12 है. एज अ बच्चा वी से कार्बन मींस 12, नहीं 12 नहीं है, कार्बन का 11 पॉइंट समथिंग आएगा आपके, या 12 पॉइंट समथिंग. ठीक है, चलें. सो ओपन योर बुक्स, एक दो क्वेश्चन करते हैं अभी, फिर हमें बाकी समझ में आएगा.